So the Math Olympics competition is an annual competition. It takes place every year. It is for grades 4 through 8. Grades 4 through 6, it is a two-part competition. First part is called Battle of the Brains. It is Kahoot. The second part, it's a breakout box. It's kind of like an escape room, but in a box form. And the school team works together, and their goal is to solve math riddles and puzzles to open as many locks as possible and hopefully open the box, and they have up to 1 hour to do it. Every year I have a line of students who want to participate in this. This is part due to Mrs. Watts and Ms. Scholastico, our admin. They are super supportive of Math Olympics. And also, I've been the coach for quite a while now. The kids know that Math Olympics is fun, so it's something they want to participate in.
The competition isn't just individual. You know, each piece of the competition, their scores are being pulled together with their teammates. You know, a big part of that score is the collaboration. And so the coaches really work with students on how to work together, how to kind of divvy up the puzzles to come together to, you know, one conclusion. And so it's just really a life skill that we want students to have. It's really exciting to see all the families and the community that comes out to support this event. They can really see what students are doing. We have family engagement activities for families that are there, really just to celebrate all the hard work for the students and just another opportunity for our community to come together in a really positive way.
We are now the innovative academies of the Dayton Public Schools are in phase 3 of the Ford Next Generation Learning Academy program. And what that means is we are actually meeting with 8 tactic teams that are writing the master plan. And so that was so important and so valuable that we now can take it back and actually implement it to make sure our students are prepared for college and careers and can really support this workforce.
We are equipping our students with the necessary tools that they need to be successful. It's not just about the data that goes on in high school. We're talking about reaching our kids outside of 4 walls to obtain a career for themselves later down the road, okay?
I feel like it was really good to be in this room. I got to meet people that I ain't never been in a room with before, different principals, people behind the scenes that I don't even know about, and really like get to see what goes on outside of just what I see inside my classroom.
I think overall it was good to collaborate, you know, bring us all together. We got industry partners here. You have teachers, you have directors, our chiefs, principals are all coming together, and we're all sharing our different experiences and expertise along with our students, giving our students a voice to be able to share and speak on their experiences and the things that they want, because it's not just about what we see, but also want to see it through their lens as well, because sometimes we get so far disconnected, you know, from being a student. And I think that's huge, to have all parties all on deck to collaborate. So this was awesome.
Well, I first would like to thank the hundreds, literally hundreds of partners that have come now to over 10 meetings with us to put all of this together. And from the bottom of our hearts, we thank them. For any community partners that haven't been engaged, we would like you contact us. We have jobs.
Today we are here with our Dayton Debate League. We have students from middle school and high school, so we have a junior and senior division, and our students are participating in debate. The Dayton Debate League gives students a chance to have their voices heard on key topics that we hear in our community, that they hear in their social studies classes, and so it gives them a chance to really speak their voice and allow everyone to hear them. Each team At their home site, they are practicing, multiple. Today, practicing, multiple times in the week, and as they are developing their speeches, and they really have to come prepared with both a pro and con argument, so they don't know until they get here what they're going to be arguing. So they have to be ready to argue both sides, and so they build this collaboration, this camaraderie, where they have to be able to really communicate with each other and read body language and do all this preparation and research. So it's a lot of background knowledge, a lot of prep, and so they're communicating and working together. I'm grateful to our community because they have really shown up. I'm grateful to our partners, to everyone who has come out to truly celebrate our students and support them. And I think they feel the love. I know that they feel the love because they communicate that.
I'm a part of Shared Governance, and we are talking about a steering committee. We're talking about how to put people into successful roles and how we can all communicate through different teams so that we're all on the same page for the actual goal. It feels good. It feels really, really good, honestly. And it only feels good because at the beginning I was confused, didn't know why I was here, just know my life coach brought me. Now it's like, I know exactly why I'm here. I know what we want the end goal to be, and I'm really happy to see that what I'm saying, in my opinion, my comments are building into that final presentation. I'm really excited to see how it'll all come out, honestly. Like, being here in the process is totally different than seeing the final outcome and not knowing the conversations we had, the different meetings, any of that. So I'm really excited to see how the work will actually come out and turn out.
My group is working on establishing a framework for partners. Work on how do we create a database of all of the partners at all the schools in the district so we can create some standard operating procedures on how partners interact with the district and with various schools, who are the contact points at those partners, what areas or what buckets do they interact with. Is it an attendance situation? Is it an academic situation? Is it college and career readiness? The way we're approaching it at Ruskin, the way we're approaching the Innovative Academies of Dayton Public Schools work is through two paths. We have an experiential path. We are getting kids out into the world, and we are bringing experts into Ruskin to try to raise kids' awareness of what is out in the world, what careers are out there when they graduate and when they're adults. The other path is the academic path. It's one thing to try to create a high school classes that will help kids once they graduate. It's another thing to be able to prepare kids for those classes. That starts with us. That starts with us making sure that our academic program at the elementary level is tight, that we are making sure that kids are meeting benchmarks and are able to work at grade level so they are successful in middle school and in high school.
Good morning, DPS. Good morning. I can't hear you. Good morning, DPS. Good morning. Welcome to this year's annual Team Vote March. Y'all look so good here today. Give yourself a round of applause. You're here to cast your ballot for the first time. I see the bands got new outfits on. I see International is making their Dayton debut for the first time. Man, y'all showing up and showing out with pride. That's what it's all about. I want you to know that today, the fact that you are fired up, ready to go and vote is powerful. Your ballot is your access point to democracy, and voting is the entryway to power. I want you to know that today is a moment that you'll never forget. Today is all about you. At this moment, you are making an affirmative decision to take a stance in your way of life. You're going to make decisions that are going to impact your neighborhoods, your schools, your community, and ultimately your way of life. Regardless of how you vote, I want you to vote your community. I want you to vote your neighborhoods. I want you to vote your values. Those are things that make you who you are. If you vote for people and issues that reflect those, you will never go wrong. I want you also to remember that there's an election at least every 6 months. That means that the energy that brought you here has to keep you in the same moment even after you cast your ballot. In this election, and the one that follows, and the one that follows, and the one that follows. That energy is what is going to make you become or assist and impact in the very change that you want to see in your community.
It's for you.
This is for Doctor.
Okay.
I think so. I brought my code because I know it's not totally.
All right.
We'll scroll in.
We have graduates today.
These are medicine.
I thought we were not doing the salad. Dr. Lawrence? I thought we were not doing the salad now.
Oh no, these are adults who graduate.
Okay, it's still on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm going to speak to it.
Okay, all right.
The graduates.
You ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
Call to order, Dayton Public Schools Board meeting. Roll call.
President Bailey,
Here.
Dr. Goodwin,
Here.
Mr. Lacey,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Present.
Ms. Reiner,
Present.
Mr. Walker,
Present.
Ms. Garrison.
Present.
7 in attendance.
Mission is to inspire, educate, and empower. Our vision is to inspire, educate, and empower scholars for a long-lasting impact. And the purpose to cultivate a supportive and engaging educational experience. District events.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bailey. Last day of school is May 21st. Have a great summer. That is not right. I want them to have a great summer, but 18, 19, 20, 21, I guess it is. May 21, have a great summer, last day of school. And that leads me to summer programming, because it's not the last day of school for some folks. We have not as robust as before because of funding, but we have several summer programs, and Summer Bridge starts July 27th through the 31st, welcoming all incoming ninth graders. And we practiced 2 years ago. Last year got even more robust, and this year with the Freshman Academy, we are really looking forward to Summer Bridge. And then summer programming, Take Flight, Summer Camp, Camp Level Up, June 1st to June 5th, Camp Level Up. That's going to be at Dunbar High School, serving grades K through 12. Ready, Set, Grow, June 22nd to July 17th. Monday through Friday, serving incoming kindergartners. Very, very important, given our reconfiguration or reconstitution of preschool. So certainly come early and apply. Liddy STEM Camp, June 2nd to June 25th. And I believe there's a wait list, but continue to apply. Elementary Extended School Year, June 2nd through June 11th. At Valerie Elementary School. Apex for our high schoolers, June 1st through the 26th. who are either making up credits or 8th graders who are coming in who want to get ahead. Wright Brothers Middle School, and looks like, yes, Wright Brothers Middle School is where Apex is. And educational interpreting, June 1st through the 26th. That's going to be at Wright Brothers Middle School as well. Horizons in STEM, serving grades 7, 8. That's going to be at the Challenger Center, which is next to Kaiser. And then secondary extended year, June 2nd through June 11th, Monday through Thursday. And Academic Advance Academy, this will be at Wright Brothers as well. So Academic Advancement Academy, June 15th through the 30th. So lots of camps at Wright Brothers. This is a bit less than we had before, but still a lot. I don't think there's any place that has as robust as a summer program as we do. So thank you to the core academic team, and thank you to Dr. Jones and his team for getting the buildings ready for us to have summer scholarship this summer.
Special recognitions.
Special recognitions, best of class, district valedictorians and salutatorians. After several text messages back and forth this weekend, starting Friday, the high school principals let me know that the valedictorians and salutatorians are doing lots of things. They have already kind of checked out and they're doing their thing. So they've got their own stuff going on. They're like, hey, thank you for the wonderful education, DPS, but we got our own parties going on. So I'm going to read them today. Belmont High School, alma mater of President Dr. Brother Bailey, Maxwell Landers, 2026 valedictorian. Yay. Candace Thorpe, 2026 salutatorian. Also, their pictures on our website, you can see it scrolling. The Val Sal for all of our schools. David H. Ponus Career Technology Center. Robert Lowe Cage, 2026 valedictorian, and Regina Kashindi, 2026 salutatorian. Meadowdale Career Technical Center. These two guys are best friends. This is really, really kind of neat that they finished 1-2. Trey Ray Redmond and Thurston Melson III. I might add that is Mr. Smith's alma mater. Paul Laurence Dunbar High School, valedictorian Kylie Norris, and Najwa Sabon, salutatorian. And I might add that is board member Garrison's alma mater and mine as well. Stivers School for the Arts, Chloe Ryan, valedictorian, and Adele Cox, salutatorian. And in Thurgood Marshall STEM High School, alma mater of board member Walker, Fura Naya Bakande, valedictorian, Darren Montgomery, co-salutatorian, and Alicia Altman, co-salutatorian. So we wish them the best. We will see them starting tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday for graduations at the University of Dayton. Next, ditto to our athletic honorees. The board would like to formally congratulate the male and female athletes with the highest GPA from each high school. Again, these are high schoolers. Anyone who has children this age, you know what happens right about now. So they would have been here today, but they've got quite a bit going on. Actually, some of them are still competing. Track season and flag football season. And what other season am I missing? Board members, track, flag football, baseball, tournament, baseball, softball, tennis. Got it. Belmont, Victoria Nuglisis, Ana Maria, Paul Laurence Dunbar High School, Ariel Garcia Lopez, Bailey Wilson, Meadowdale High School, Trey Ray Redmond, again, Habiba Meliba, David H. Ponus Career Technology Center, Kevin Lowe, and Regina Kashindi, again, Stivers School for the Arts, Dylan Egleff and Chloe Ryan, again, and Thurgood Marshall High School, Dwight Mitchell and Alicia Altman, again. So as you can see, some of our there are really truly student athletes. They were mentioned on, some of them were mentioned on both lists. And now let's get to the fun part, the folks who are here, the folks who work for us. I want to publicly say that change is always difficult. Change agents always, typically, there's lots of pushback, but Dr. Goodwine, you stood your ground. You said this is an academic organization called Dayton Public Schools, and we want all of our employees, if they can, to have degrees, and you also offer them an out-ramp by working on the policy to make sure we have money in that fund to pay for reimbursement, and you also worked on colleges and universities that they could attend. So we now have a significantly long list of graduates who are working for us. Some of them took opportunities in the program, some did not, but it is wonderful to recognize our athletes, our academics who are our employees, registered athletes. Erica Banks, even if they're not here, I'm going to announce their degree. Erica Banks, BS in Organizational Management. Brandon Calhoun, MBA Business Administration. I should say, brother Brandon Calhoun. Come on up, come on up. We're going to come down. We're going to come down. You stay there. Antoine Derrick, BS Criminal Justice Administration. Michelle Dinsmore, Dr. Michelle Dinsmore, Educational Leadership. Thomas Gray, BS Organizational Management. Brianne Mickey, BS Organizational Management. Uniqua Northcutt, BS Organizational Management. Akeisha Sheehy, Dr. Akeisha Sheehy, Educational Leadership. I'm going to say it slow and loud so everybody can hear it. Nathaniel Williams, Dr. Nathaniel Williams, Educational Leadership. I read his dissertation. It was fantastic. I sent him a question about it, and he sent right back an answer. So I appreciate you. And my main man, 25-8, Richard Wright, BS Criminal Justice. Good shit. Good shit. Right, right. That part. Dr. Bailey, we have special presentations coming up, but I just want to, well, first of all, I'm glad to be back. I missed all 7 of you while I was in Denver. And I just want to, again, this is really cool having our employees go back and not just their, like, yeah, get their degrees. And I just want to say this is a beautiful thing. This is the first of many classes because there are lots of other people in the pipeline. So we're excited. And let's give it up for our grads again. All right. Special presentations. I'd like to bring up Derek Alvarado and Dr. Tracy Davis and LaShawn Graham. They're going to be doing some presenting on Ford Next Generation Learning. Hi, Dr. Davis, how are you? Congratulations to Donnie for graduating. Her son just graduated from Bowling Green. He's a DPS graduate. Right? Tell him the Cash App's on the way. Okay, I will. You know, I'm consistent.
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Lawrence, and our community members. My name is Derek Alvarado. I am currently the co-chair of the Portrait of a Graduate Tactic Team and assistant principal over at E.J. Brown. We've decided to share with you a little slideshow that tells you a little bit about Portrait of a Graduate and what it means to us. So, it is the goal of the Dayton Public Schools to ensure that 100% of its students, 1 year after graduation and beyond, are successfully enrolled in a 2 to 4 year university, successfully employed in a high demand field, having earned an industry credential and or certification, successfully enlisted in the military, or earning a living as a successful entrepreneur. We have 6 competencies we want each student to build and develop throughout their education in Dayton Public Schools. And these are communication, critical thinking, work ethic, collaboration, resilience, and integrity. And this is a little information, a little background about how these attributes were chosen. An initial NGL meeting brought together a team of internal and external stakeholders to identify attributes that lead to success in both schools and business. And then after identifying a range of attributes, this team engaged in a refining process to pinpoint the specific focus areas.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. I am Tracy Davis. I have been with the district for 29 years. I am currently at Thurgood Marshall. Thank you. And I am a DPS graduate as well. I am really excited about the work that we are doing with the NGL Innovative Academies. I think it is a learner-focused, I know it's a learner-focused program, and these attributes are about the learners. So it's when they leave here, not only do we just want to say, oh, they have a job or they have a degree, there are certain qualities that will make them effective as they matriculate through the rest of their life. And that's what these attributes are, these 6 competencies. And what the Portrait of a Graduate is the foundation for the other 9 committees that make up the Innovative Academies Initiative. So this summer, one of the things we're working on we have our performance indicators, they're there. But what we're working on is what does that look like at each grade band? What are our learning targets for each grade band? Because it's easy to say we want them to be able to communicate, we want them to have work ethic. How do we get them there? And so that's what we're working on. We can go to the next one after that, because you guys can read those attributes. So what we're doing this summer is we are breaking these down into grade bands, and the grade bands are defined as follows. The lower elementary is pre-K through 2nd, upper elementary is 3rd through 5th, middle school is 6th through 8th, and high school is 9th through 12th. And we've identified specific learning targets, what that looks like in each band. Now what we're gonna do is try and work on model lessons. So the goal is for these competencies to be smoothly integrated into our current curriculum. But because this is a new process, we also want to provide some explicit examples for teachers, model lessons of how do you, for a third grader, reinforce this idea of work ethic? How do you, for a sixth grader, reinforce this idea of resilience? And that's what we have, a committee of teachers who will be on a writing team this summer, the week of June 9th through the 12th, and then the week of June 16th through the 18th. And that work will be continuing. After that point, we will have rubrics available for feedback. At this point, in April and May, we already presented those rubrics to all of the schools and gave teachers in those schools an opportunity to give feedback on whether they thought the learning targets were appropriate for students at that level. And we're going to continue to keep that loop going as we roll out the model lessons to get feedback from students and the community. And that's kind of where we are now.
Thank you very much.
Were there any questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And good evening. I am LaShawn Graham. I am the co-lead of the implementation team for Family and Community Engagement, Family Partnerships. And Amber Layton is my external co-lead. She's Director of Youth and Children Services for the Dayton Dream Center. You go to the next slide. So during our planning process for the Ford NGL model, the tactic team, this is our purpose that we came up with, is to help families understand the benefits of career academies and give them opportunities to get involved in children's learning. We will create a plan to ensure families are actively engaged, informed about the academy model, and aware of how it supports children's success. Our expected outcomes are that families will actively participate in children's education, have a voice in the experience, and fully understand the academy benefits. We will also establish regular communication to keep families connected and informed. Next slide, please. So our priorities that we came up with throughout this Ford Next Generational Learning process is, for one, establish a welcoming school environment culture through early positive family engagement. 2, launch family awareness meetings to build understanding and partnerships. 3, develop parent learning communities to deepen engagement and shared decision-making. And 4, provide district-wide professional development on family engagement for staff. So our first big opportunity to start with our priorities was the community cafes that kicked off in April and May. And we made sure that since Amber Layton is our external co-lead, that our kickoff one was at the Dayton Dream Center. And so at those meetings, we had what we were calling our artifacts, which was the School Parent Compact, Portrait of a Graduate, and the Ford NGL Master Plan, and of course the Academic Action Plan. So it was great that we started off talking about the Portrait of a Graduate. So if you go to our next slide. So the whole intent and purpose of the community cafes was to take the Portrait of a Graduate, the Academic Action Plan, and redesign the School Parent Compact. So all of our schools are Title I buildings. So it was important for us to now align our School Parent Compact with the Ford Next Generational Learning process and use the Portrait of a Graduate to align those essential skills with our School Parent Compact and our Academic Action Plan. So the community cafes was an opportunity to get the community input. So if you go to the next slide, and we've already talked about the Portrait of a Graduate, but I wanted to let you see on the next slide after that, that we had great community input. We had staff members, we had parents, we had community, we had staff members who were parents, we had bus drivers, we had paraprofessionals. We had a lot of community input. So the whole intent was that we had a chance to talk about to the community, give them an idea what Ford Next Generational Learning was. We had a chance for them to see what the Portrait of a Graduate looked like. We had a chance for them to go through questions about parent, family engagement, what shared decision-making looked like, and to give their input from an elementary perspective, from a middle school perspective, and from a high school perspective, and give us what they thought what that looked like in the form of the school parent compact. And so if you go to the next slide, so we actually took the notes as they went through the parent cafes and they circled through the 5 tables of the 5 areas of the school parent compact and they answered the questions. These were some of the key themes of the feedback. Was we need to strengthen, how we can strengthen two-way communication, families as active partners in education, emphasis on life skills and real work readiness, recognition, motivation, and positive enforcement, building responsibility, routines, and accountability, improving access and reducing barriers for families, and expanding connections and learning experiences. So these are some of the feedback that we're going to put into that redesign of the school parent compact. And so some of the data from what we got from the cafes was we had 5 cafes that were held in April and May. We had 79 participants, including the table host, and 7% of our participants were our parent ambassadors. And one of our parent ambassadors came the first time she was a participant, and then she came a second time and served as a table host. And so, these are some of the conclusions that we came from those conversations. The community cafe conversation reinforced the importance of strong family partnerships as foundations for student success. Families want consistent communication, meaningful engagement opportunities, and shared commitment to develop student academic skills, life skills, and future readiness. These insights will directly inform the revision of the Title I School Parent Compact template to better reflect family voice and strengthen collaboration across Dayton Public Schools. So our next steps, which is on the next slide, is that we will integrate the key feedback from the community cafe sessions, draft an updated Title I School Parent the Title I School Parent Compact template, work with PIL to have a final draft on the website for a comment period. So this will give those opportunity for those who could not come to the cafe still have time to give us some input. And then we'll work on the final school parent compact for readiness for the parent principal review in July when they come in for more work with the Ford NGL model. And then our upcoming action steps is that I'm still completing some listening sessions with our parent ambassadors for the 26-27 planning. We're planning some staff development on parent and family engagement and continued parent and community cafes. And then finalize plan for website for parent, family, and community engagement to submit to the PIO so we can have a more robust presence on our website. And that is the end of my presentation, and see if you have any questions for me.
Questions,
So, thank you, Ms. Brown. So, 2 questions. The district is 13,000 students and only 79 parents participated. How do you get feedback from the other ones?
The feedback will be, that's why we're going to do the final draft and put it on the website for a comment period so they can still have some time for input.
So,
and it wasn't just parents, it was the community and parents. So it was a challenge getting the parents to come, but it's still work to do.
Okay, and so the final draft will be released before talking to other parents?
The final draft will be released based on the input that we've already given, and then we'll put it on the website so we can get more input.
Okay, so the parent ambassadors, we pay for things or give them a stipend for things or something like that?
We give them a stipend to work with their buildings to help increase engagement in the buildings.
Okay, and in this project, out of the 29 buildings, so only 7% of those individuals participated?
Right.
Okay, what are you looking at as far as measurable benchmarks with this model?
Measurable benchmarks?
Yeah.
So we can have more alignment with the school parent compact and actually more awareness with the school parent compact, because we want it to be actually utilized more with fidelity than it just being a checkoff at the building level, because it is a requirement based for Title I.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Just more for them, but thank you for the presentation. It was a good presentation. We've gotten several about this process, but I kind of want to know the dollar investment in this at this point. We've been having a lot of conversations about finances in this piece. I believe we're on phase 4 now, Dr. Moore? 4. Correct. I would like to request a presentation on the actual total investment in this project, as well as what the future ask of the Board of Education is for us to continue with this implementation, and what are the alternatives? Because when we started this in 2024, our financial situation was significantly different than it is in 2026 and going forward. So I just kind of want to get the business argument for this. I know we have a good amount of the social argument and piece of that, putting that other part in it, especially since we're being asked to make decisions now. It's just time for us to see the numbers on how we can make this still possible within our actual finances. That's it. It was for him.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Can I add to that? I would just like to see, with this being the first year for the Ford NGO, what goals were obtained with high school participation with the Freshman Academy itself?
This isn't the first year. This is actually going into the third year of the work.
No, I'm just talking about the Freshman Academy, though. Like, with the 8th graders that went into the Freshman Academy this year, like, how did they matriculate for this year going into their sophomore year? I know before it was a problem with life coaches and having freshmen who were freshmen, but are sophomores who were actually freshmen.
Correct.
And, like, what did that actually look like?
Got you. Their caseload and then the Freshman Academy itself.
Yes.
When we come back on June 9th with the financials, we'll add a piece in there about the Freshman Academy. And also, that's some good feedback about the life coaches and their caseload and what did that look like and what effect did they have.
Thank you.
Yep, you got it.
Anything else? Any other bargaining units?
Good evening, President Bailey, Treasurer Braha, Superintendent Lawrence, board members, friends and family viewing from home. My name is Neil Mahoney, and I am the DEA president. You may or may not be aware of an email sent to all employees this morning from Dr. Lawrence. The email titled Semi-Monthly Pay System is vague in details, at least in how it relates to the members of the DEA. The DEA has valid concerns that the district is potentially looking to get out of the 24-pay MOU that are entered into in late 2025. Some of you may recall that the district approached the DEA with the goal of moving from a 26-pay or biweekly pay cycle to a 24-pay pay cycle. The DEA, in good faith, met several times with the administration, ultimately ended with an agreed-upon MOU. In early January of 2026, the DEA took the MOU to a vote of its membership, and it was approved by a 75 to 25% margin. The results of the vote were communicated to the superintendent, who I will try to put his words to the exact and feeling for it from his response was awesome. I then signed the MOU, like the many others that I have done previously, and sent it back to the superintendent and the board's attorney. The MOU was not conditioned upon the success of moving other organized groups over to the 24-pay model. The DEA believes that we have an agreement in place. I'd like to be crystal clear. The DEA will vigorously defend the implementation of this MOU, whether that's through the courts, with an unfair labor practice through CERB, or an arbitrator. In conclusion, I ask that this board demand that the administration holds up its end of this agreement, thereby avoiding the expense of costly litigation. A deal is a deal. Dr. Lawrence, do you agree we have a deal?
I do.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yes, I absolutely agree we have a deal. I want to thank you and your team for coming in the fall and hammering that out with my team and our attorneys at Frost Brown Todd. I thought you all came up with some great suggestions, really good leverage to work together to put the district on the pace toward normality as it relates to pay. And so you all were the first group. I want to thank you for that. We went out on tour, talked to most of the other groups. You've heard me talk about it in our union meetings for almost a year, and the email you saw today was simply saying that, in essence, after going out and talking to most of the unions in person, like asking their members to come out, in some cases during the day, and so that we can make sure they got there. Some cases after the day. What we heard overwhelmingly was that stretch pay was really the only holdup. Chief Webb said, hey, I can make that work in terms of stretch pay. If they want to keep it, I got it. And so now that that's the case, we think we're going to move forward without any barriers. And no, it's not holding you up. But I did want to put them all together at one time and do them. And we'll start with you all first, the biggest union, and then work our way back.
Much appreciated. We worked very closely on this.
Yep.
We
It was
worked
a
very
good
closely.
negotiation.
Exactly.
It was really good.
It was. And we worked very closely with the other unions at the union leaders meeting, expressing how we were able to get through this. We tried our very best to explain it to the other unions and show the positiveness of being able to have a one-pay system, how it will actually give our payroll an opportunity to be as efficient as possible, especially with pay ending on a Friday, T&A, red and white forms. I think this, moving the district forward, is just another little thing that can help attract and retain the employees of Dayton Public Schools. So we've stood behind this, and it's very refreshing to hear that we're moving forward with this. Thank you.
Yeah, it's transformational. We're there.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other bargaining units? All right. Hearing of the public. When called upon, identify yourself, state your name, address, school district in which you reside, state your reason for addressing the board, and not address the board as a whole through the president and not board members individually. Materials for distribution to the board are handed to the treasurer. Limit remarks to 3 minutes. The president has the discretion to extend the time. When your time is up, you are to stop speaking. It is inappropriate to address any matter involving pending disputes, grievances under a labor agreement, disciplinary action involving an employee or student, ongoing labor negotiations, concerns or matters that have already been settled, and/or any matter which because of its nature is deemed appropriate to be discussed in an executive session. The purpose of this public hearing portion of the meeting is for members of the public to express viewpoints and public concerns. Madam Treasurer?
Jamie Ryan.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Lawrence, and Treasurer Braha. My name is Jamie Ryan, and I am the proud mother of Chloe Jane Ryan, Stivers valedictorian and incoming Harvard freshman. I am here to publicly acknowledge and thank the Dayton Public School teachers who have been an influence in Chloe's life since 4th grade. Chloe attended Ruskin Elementary School from 4th through 6th grades, participating in Miracle Makers and Cue the Music. I'd like to thank the following teachers for the time and dedication they poured into Chloe and all of their students. Some of these individuals have retired or moved on from Dayton Public, but I want to recognize all of them. Ms. Prado, Ms. Fugate, Ms. Janelle Sargent, Mr. Paul, Ms. Peach, Ms. Sharp, Ms. Kristen Smith, Ms. Van Leeuwen, Ms. Cardine, Ms. Rivera, Ms. Amy Cooper, Ms. Cooley, from Cue the Music, Ms. Leslie, Mr. Ben, and Mr. Reese, from Miracle Makers, Ms. Dennison and Mario. After Ruskin, Chloe made her way to Stivers School for the Arts. She was a double magnet for 3 years, choir and orchestra. 7th grade was a rough year because of the pandemic, but we made our way through it in large part due to Ms. Messmore, Ms. Miller, Mr. Richards, Ms. Emmons, Mrs. Hitchcock, and Ms. DeVore Leonard. Thank you to her 8th grade teachers, Mr. Reisner, Mr. Hitchcock, Ms. Hahn, Mrs. Ramey, Ms. Nysonger, and Mrs. Powell, who gave Chloe the foundation she needed as she moved into high school. and to her high school teachers in the order she had them from 9th grade to 12th grade. Mr. Powell, Ms. Spangler, Mr. Higginbotham, Ms. Arrington, Ms. Sorrell, Ms. Daniels, Mr. Steingass, Ms. Fetterspiel, Mr. Hogan, Mr. Norsworthy, Mr. Hall, Mr. Reinard, Ms. Roget, Ms. Walden, Mr. Griffin, Mr. Hopkins, Mr. Mark Hall, and Mr. Unger. Thank you to all the teachers who helped shape and inspire Chloe and who daily do the work of teaching, managing classrooms, planning lessons, and engaging and challenging students. There are countless others who have impacted my daughter and her educational experience: principals, board members, custodians, school nurses, and other staff. Thank you for your dedication to the students in this district.
Wow.
Just to let you know, I want to thank you as a parent.
Yes.
Being in her life, being there to support her and to push her. Thank you very much.
I will say that I forgot that I was supposed to be timing, but the story was just so good.
I would have just amazed that she wanted.
And even with Ruskin, I was like, oh wow, was that one of my teachers? That was. I was like,
I was going to give her all the time she wanted.
yeah.
Do we have anyone else?
Yes, Loretta Williams.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members. My name is Loretta Williams. I live on Philadelphia Drive in the Meadowdale High School area. I'm here as a community member. Regarding the Ford Next Generation model, I started attending the listening sessions and the training sessions and then the work sessions. And in most of those sessions, you guys had representation from students, parents, district employees, community members. And there has yet to be a session that I walked away with disappointment. So I want to first do this. I want to thank everyone on this board. I want to thank everyone in that central office, everyone in these school buildings, and all those community members who dedicated their time. This is a great leap of faith. You will not regret it. Fortunately, I've seen it in place in other districts. You will not regret it. I wanted to address the alignment that is taking place. It's not easy, as Dr. Lawrence has stated before. Change is not easy for all of us, and even for anyone who may not agree. I've seen nothing but alignment. And for the adults, as we align, our children will do the same. You guys are making some choices that will not only prepare our students and give them a fair chance in life and give them options in life, but you are making a choice that will have a huge impact on this city. And you guys are creating a situation where our children will have a reason to come back here or never leave here and invest their talents here. So I want to commend you. I know it's not easy. The central office staff are putting in some long hours, and I've even had to kind of talk to some and encourage them to try to pace themselves and be mindful of how many hours you're putting in. But I do want to thank you guys for the alignment. I thank you for this collaboration. I thank you for the demonstration that you show with the character traits that we want the kids to show. And it happened just now. You know, the communication with the DEA and the collaboration and the integrity. We need this in our city. I thank everyone for all that you do.
Thank you very much. Madam Treasurer, is there anyone else?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Superintendent?
Superintendent's agenda. I need some, I was scanning over this, and it was brought to my attention when I got here. I looked at the organizational chart, and can someone on the board help me? I want to take the academy coaches off the org chart and vote on that as a position without the salary while we still are gathering research on that. I know, but can we do that? Okay, can you help me with that? Thank you so much. Okay.
What, so do you want to do superintendent recommendations before the personnel agenda? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, can we do that first?
Does it make a difference, really? We're gonna get to it, right?
Yeah, the position is on there, not the people.
Yeah, no people, just
the position is what's on there.
Yeah, but the org chart isn't what gets you, you guys gotta take an action outside of the org chart. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so they put,
I mean, we can get to the work, there's some other questions on there too.
yeah, so the C is the position for, C is the actual academy coach position, D is the org chart.
So that would be C that you want to have an amendment
Yes.
in the motion, which would be fine. Just put that out as your motion.
Okay, all right.
So we're at 6 or 7 now?
We're at 6.
Right now.
If we can knock 6 out, then we can get to 7.
Yeah.
That'd be great. This would be you have to say something.
Well, I mean,
Trying to get y'all going.
I recommend that you place the academy coaches on.
No. 6.
This is just personnel, not
Just personnel.
your other recommendations.
Right.
Okay, so,
What's your normal?
oh, got you, my
We're just
normal
gonna
thing,
move
okay.
through it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Please accept my superintendent's recommendations if Mr. Walker is doing this, B through G.
So moved.
Second? Questions or concerns?
So Beth,
Oh, go ahead.
Is this
Oh,
7?
We're on 6.
We're on
The
6.
6.
Personnel agenda.
Go ahead, Dr. Goodwin.
Okay, just go through these a couple. Dr. Lawrence, I got some technical questions first.
Okay.
Who's reviewing these? Yeah, like, there are so many errors in here that I'm about to pull multiple things for those to be fixed.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to figure out, especially in V 2 through 7, last week before it went live, there were the resolutions. I sent the email to yourself and the chief of HR on April 20th with the resolutions template that was sent the last time the board with individuals. We need to know.
I refreshed and now
Mhm.
suit the
Why don't
personnel
we have
agenda is
resolutions
6.
for the reduction in force? That's my first question.
To answer actually, it was 2 questions. You said who reviews it?
Like, who's reviewing it before it gets to us? Because there's just a lot of work happening on our side
Mhm.
of finding errors at this point.
We have a meeting that's chaired by the chief of HR, and we go over it then. Chief of HR also comes to the core academic.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
the academics themselves informally go through and look at the agenda to see if their people are on or off and what right steps and whether they're paid or not.
So there's some gaps in the current process, because, again, the first one here, there's no resolution to go with the reduction in force, which B through 7, B1 through B7, I'm gonna ask us to table B2 through 7 until we get the resolution, which again, I know it exists, because it was up a week ago before it went live, so I don't know why it's not here now to tell us what the reduction in force is caused by. You gotta say something here. And then B1, this is more Dr. Jones or the HR team, where is this position? Was this position posted? Where was it created? On the org chart, I see a random piece out there. What we doing here, y'all? So, and so let me ask the first question. Was it posted? Where did the position come from?
Would you like to have a conversation in the executive session?
I would not. I'm on process right now. It's not about the person whatsoever. I'm on the process here. Mainly, I've sent you guys.
Yeah, so we were asked to create
Who asked you to create
a different position. Well, because of the change in the shift, we created a new position. And so what
Okay,
was
so we
the
got
next
some
question?
process problems here, which is
In terms of
this position doesn't exist. That's the first one. It's not
the
advertised.
the executive director position is on the pay scale.
No, the associate executive position in the service building. What is that?
Operations. We have an associate executive director
So I'm looking at
position.
your org chart right
That's
here.
a part of the pay scale.
I'm looking at what you guys submitted for an org chart. It's a person floating out here that's not a part of anything in operations, and they just floating here. I don't have a problem with positions, but I have a problem when we don't go through process to create things, especially when we're having so many conversations about funding and what we're doing and the countless things that I've heard on our side.
So you, from a requisition standpoint?
No.
Process? Look,
So process, so we have policies. You see the policies, correct? Okay. Did you guys post this position? You created it, did it go through a posting?
so it's okay, so my understanding is that it's an associate executive director position, which we have in the district already.
Are you familiar with
so-
policy GCD-R?
I'm familiar with many of the policies.
Okay,
yes.
that policy is the policy on positions and how they have to be advertised, because we also have these things when other people who have qualification because of prior administration, this is kind of one of the things that led to us having a shift when we had people who didn't get an opportunity to, I believe you were HR at that time. Maybe, no, you weren't there at that time, that was another group. But again, there's a process that you guys have skipped. I don't know if it's your team that skipped it, or it's at the HR team, or it's somewhere, and I'm trying to figure out where the gaps are occurring at this point.
We'll fill the gap, we'll fix it.
Okay. If y'all could just follow the processes here. Like, again, to my statement that I just made to Dr. Lawrence here, it's just too many things outside of process that are causing way too much detail. Like, I really want to come here and trust that what you guys have done is correct. You followed your process, and we can just vote on it, yes or no, versus having to get deep down into the nuances of how we got here. Next, that's all I have for on yours. Actually, I'm gonna have another one for you in a second. On the administrator pay scale. So first, I do want to table B1 through 7 until they're corrected, because otherwise we need to waive some rules for us to vote on them. Any objection to that?
I don't object.
Okay.
Anybody else?
All right.
What was the
B1,
question?
B1
I want to
through
table,
7.
I want them to correct the things, like B2 through 7 are missing the resolution, B1 didn't go through the process to actually post and do the things.
So, Dr. Bailey, are we gonna take anything into executive session? Because I do have a question.
Say that again?
Still asking about them.
My question, I guess, my question is, I've seen people get in positions that are active that they didn't post. So I guess I'm confused as to why we're pulling B1.
You gotta call that out when, I'm calling it because I found one. Which
No,
one didn't they
I'm just
post?
asking.
Which other one?
You just made people chiefs. You just made people move them into spaces that weren't posted.
Which
So
post was that? Like, if you guys,
Just last week.
I wasn't here last week, so I can't speak to that.
So I would say then if we can have that discussion, then those would be names. I would want to move that and then have that vote, because yes, that has been something that I have seen, that when there are positions that are already existing in the district, we have moved people into that. We just did like 3 last week. There are people in this room that are sitting here that have been voted on, that have been in positions that did not get posted, that were open positions, and we voted to move it. So if we're going to have a consistency, then we need to talk about what does that fully look like and how we're gonna move it. So I would wanna have that conversation, if at all possible, and then we can still come out and vote to table it either way.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I think if you guys see those things, you need to speak up on them. I was not here last week, but I would have said the same thing.
I will say that the 3 administrative positions last week were posted and people interviewed.
I'm saying we also.
Yeah, I was correct what you
So
said
that's-
earlier. You
that's
said-
fine.
What I'm talking, like.
Right, but you just said last
gotta
week,
stop
just
eating.
clarifying. Last week they did go through the process. I don't know what
So
happened.
I have no problem pulling them until after exec, but for that one right there, but the other one still need that piece, and we can vote on tabling them after exec, and y'all can talk about whatever y'all need. In administrative placements, there are a couple that I like to pull for them to get their terms corrected, because these terms are incorrect, and if the people can show that these terms are correct, I have no problem of us putting it on there, and pull it to after exec, and if it's not done, then it can wait to the next one, but I don't want to hold up other people. That's going to be AD5, AD16, AD20, and AD40.
5, 16,
20 and 40. The term is incorrect on their contract terms.
Okay, so we're on admin placement.
Yes, I'm still on B.
Okay, so you, AD5. AD5 or AD5?
AD5,
AD5.
AD16, AD20, AD40. I can wait. I don't have anything else on that one. If anybody else has anything in administrative, because then I can go on.
I do have on the administrative one. Some people have 3-year, some people have 4, but some people have really only been back 2 years and are at already a 2-year contract? Or, oh, we can do it in exec.
do you have something that you need to pull? Or you just need to?
Just clarity.
In general?
Yeah,
Okay.
just general
Okay.
clarity.
Okay, in,
So, wait a minute,
Go ahead,
so
my
do
bad.
we need to just pull this whole thing until after exec?
if you guys, I don't have any issue with the other individuals other than those ones I pulled.
Can we just do that?
Just take the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing, we'll take it to exec.
On E, I had a question about E11, pulling that one, because that's a change in classification from an individual. And this is something that came before the board. So we'd like to find out about that one. Let's see. I do have a question about a retiree hire, if you guys, if this is correct, even though the person was on the November agenda, left in March, and it's coming back in May. My question is still a retiree hire? Was a notice supposed to be given, even though they come back in and it's the 60-day out? Do you know? HRT. You gotta bring back your picture, whichever one.
What was your question?
My question is about the SRO that's coming back, because it was on the November, but it was for him to leave in March, but he's coming back in May. My question is, it's still a retiree hire, did they have to follow that same process?
Oh, it's already pulled.
That's pulled.
Yeah, that one's already pulled.
Question still, I still got the question on it. I wrote it down.
I can answer that. I don't.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I said everybody else looking.
Yeah, I don't remember a 60-day notice or a 30-day notice for that.
So is that the process that it has to occur every time a retire or rehire? That's my question. Because I know he's been off for that period. So that's just, is it every time that has to occur?
Is that a certified or classified?
Yeah, that's what I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was just my general question
Yeah,
on it.
I know on certified, I know we have done, we just did it, but I don't know about classified. For classified as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's good it got pulled because we still got to put that up, so. So, oh my God, I do appreciate as I saw Board Member Smith last week ask about the individuals that were tabled, so I do appreciate that getting put back on.
Mm-hmm.
See, I watched him last week.
Any other questions or concerns?
That's all I got.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Okay, so on the principal list, since it's out here again, PAP1, I would like to pull. I do have a question on, where did it go? These are not in oh, they're in building order. Okay. So I do have a question on PAP5 as well. I did ask last week about the Rosa Park principal. That's not on here, so I'll ask that again. I'll save that one for exec. And there's another one.
You had a question on PAP5?
I did. Give me ask it out here, I can.
On the Belmont principal?
Uh-huh. That I may have answered. No, we're good.
You're good with PAP 5?
You good at PAP 5? Are you questioning the step on PAP 5?
More so on the building is no longer a 7 through 12 building, so is the salary reflective of a 9 through 12 and not a 7 through 12?
Oh, I don't have that in front of me, but we can pull it up in exact, but yes, I got you. So not the steps.
Yeah.
But okay, got you. That is true, this is the last year.
So are we pulling that?
Yes.
PAP 5?
Yeah, just until after exec.
Okay, PAP 5 is pulled after exec. Anything else, Mr. Walker?
Not on that one. We did the other one. So is so we bringing back B2 and B, so the recommendation is B2, B7 for the June meeting?
We have to find out after exec.
Yeah, we're pulling it until after exec.
Okay.
Ms. Kidd, do you have the resolution from last week?
Sorry.
Do you have the resolution from last week? The one that Dr. The RIF resolution?
I have it, based on the students who are part of the meeting, but I have access to it.
Okay. I want to just have access to it in an executive session.
Dr. Goodwin?
Yes. So I just want to know, when do we expect to see the DEA contracts on here? 'Cause this is our last meeting in May. Kind of what's taking so long for us to get, and I know I got an email about this too.
You did, I sent one to the entire district and said today.
Okay. Today that we will see it, because today we don't see it. Or today that you talked about it.
The email said today.
Okay, can we ask the HR team? Or is there someone else that we ask?
You can ask the HR team.
Another question while they're looking for that one. So it's all reduction of forces being pulled, right?
It's out there, exactly.
We have to.
Okay. So B2 to B7.
Cheat now? Okay.
Okay. We're not sure what happened to the list, but it is being added now, so, for your view. It was up there, it's not up there anymore.
So do we have to do a 48-hour waiver now? Or?
Yes, it's not our recommendation.
Okay.
So we have to do a 48-hour waiver?
If it was up there 48 hours ago, we don't.
Did anybody, it was not.
It was not up there.
It's not been up there all
We reviewed it
weekend.
over the weekend.
It hasn't been up here since, yeah. So, Ms. Kidd, if I can request if we can get a 48-hour waiver for the DEA contracts and get those added, please? In a separate section, since we're voting on this section right now. That's all I had,
All
Dr.
right.
Bailey.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Madam Treasurer?
So, just to be
Oh.
clear, we are voting on superintendent recommendations without the reduction of forces because they're in different parts of his recommendations.
Correct.
Without the B ones, they removed all the administrative placements too. They removed,
All of that's been removed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's reductions in E10 and somewhere else too.
and principal placements didn't get removed, did they?
Now, we
Okay, so the
pulled-
only one in B that is principal placements.
Not pulled that too.
That's,
Everything else is
you
after.
pulled principal place? Oh, yeah, he did.
Okay, then there's nothing in B being voted on.
Nothing in B is being voted on.
And the individual
Nothing.
E11 was pulled.
Yeah,
You got all that, Madam Treasurer?
yeah,
Oh.
okay. President
Oh,
Bailey?
wait, there's one more.
Uh-oh.
E10 is a reduction in force and should also be pulled.
E10?
E10.
E10 and E11.
Okay. President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, I would ask the board to take a look at budget information. And treasurer and I and business manager, open to questions if you have them.
Questions or concerns? No. Move on.
All right. Did you grab, did we get D? Because D is all the way below all those other ones. Is that an ad?
D was not a part, well, no,
It
D
was.
was a part of your
It
motion.
was. It was
Yeah.
just out of order on
All
the
right,
list.
all right. Consultant services, contracts, can we do those together?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you.
can we vote on, you said consultant, that was just consultant contracts, is that what it is?
Yes.
Walker,
Any questions or concerns?
Bailey.
Did you second?
I did not.
It was Bailey.
Bailey.
Second.
Dr. Goodwine. No, I think it was Dr. Goodwine.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, thank you.
Questions or concerns? Madam Treasurer? Oh, Mr. Walker.
He did them both together, so.
President Bailey,
Hold on.
Okay.
You have a question?
Yes.
oh, okay.
I kind of want to do on consultants, the Alignment Nashville. Can we, this was, I don't know, last week Chief Sheehy said that there was more language to go with this, and that's not added on here.
So you want to pull it to vote separately, table it, what?
Yeah, I would pull it to vote separately.
Okay.
Which one?
The Alignment Nashville.
All right. Any other questions or concerns? Madam Treasurer?
President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yeah.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Dr. Lawrence?
I think she's gonna do Nashville separate.
Oh,
Yeah, I had an issue with this one because,
I thought she was pulling it.
did we pull it or?
No, they said vote separately.
Did you vote separate, or did you want to pull?
Yeah, we can vote separately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's vote.
All right. Madam Treasurer?
You, okay. President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Abstain.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Abstain.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
No.
Ms. Garrison.
No.
2 noes, 2 abstain, noes. Yeah, 2 abstain and 3 yeses. So, it didn't pass.
Dr. Lawrence?
All right. I recommend the approval of the resolution for the academy coach minus the salary.
So moved.
Second.
So to,
Question. So you just want to approve of a
The
position
yes.
called academy coach,
Because it's, yes,
and there's no salary on here whatsoever? Can we have this updated to reflect that, or something added?
Then we also, I would say, would I be, who moved the motion? Would you be open to amending that to including a date that we would need to have the salary in, because we would need it before July 1st, correct, Dr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Would you accept that? into your
Yeah, I
motion?
mean, the language would be like salary to be determined by before July 1st.
Yes, sir.
Pending board approval.
Yes.
And board approval.
Pending board approval,
Does
yes.
this have to be approved today? Like, can you get all of this together?
Right, it didn't bring us a full thing.
And bring us the whole thing instead of us going through all of that and making sure that.
Like, it's just lines.
You have a meeting the 9th, a retreat the 13th, and then a meeting around, I want to say the 20th.
It is the 20th.
So we got 3 that'll be back to back.
Can you just pull it until you get all of this together?
No problem.
He would have to pull his motion, no, because it's.
Motion withdrawn.
I love Joe.
Okay.
Can we, is that okay?
He just withdrew it, so.
Okay.
Approval of the organizational chart, and that is minus the academy coach per the.
So moved,
Fully.
minus the academy coach.
Yep.
Second.
Sir, questions? Dr. Goodwin.
Let's go section by section. Madam Treasurer, I got questions regarding the org of, can you just explain to me how the budget director and the director of cash management, like this is a change from the last one where it was treasurer to assistant treasurer and all the other people under there, but why wouldn't the payroll, the chief of payroll, which is the 3rd largest position in treasury, report to the treasurer?
Because we are, the assistant treasurer is getting training, and the payroll portion is the biggest one. I want the assistant treasurer to be trained completely to be a treasurer. And that is about 60% of our expenditure is in payroll. So we need help in that one. That's the reason why I put it.
That still doesn't make sense to me. Are you saying that if people who, so that is the assistant treasurer now not going to be able to train with the other 2 people that report to you, based on what you just said?
No, we need more work in that payroll portion, so I wanted the assistant treasurer to help on that department, because that is the most expenses. Our expenditure goes to that one more.
It is
So-
it's also the highest, the most complaints that I receive regarding treasury are with people's payments. And
That's
when that comes, I mean, I go to the treasurer, so, I'm gonna make an amendment on my motion, but that's fine, I just wanted to hear, because at this point, I don't understand why the other individuals are there when there are 3 key positions in that department. And I understand what you're saying, but it's still that doesn't, the rationale doesn't make sense. That's all I have for that one. Dr. Jones, can you explain the multitude of generalists? Like on this chart here, I show 2 generalists reporting to the associate business manager. I show 2 generalists reporting to the executive secretary. I show 3 new generalists in nutrition services and 1 generalist in IT, which I think we approved that one last time. Where did all these generalists come from?
The generalists came from the elimination of the manager positions on the pay scale. And so with those eliminations, we created operations generalist positions. Relative to the executive secretary position, and she's on one side of the organizational chart. And I can see how that can be construed as her supervising the operations generalist, but it's under me off to the, on the other side of the chart there. And you had another question about?
The first one was on the generalist. So in our motion last year, because Mr. Walker made that motion, we didn't eliminate individuals who were currently in the position. They held on to it till they exited. So are you saying that all these individuals are new individuals?
No, ma'am. Oh, you mean new to the district?
Correct.
No.
Because the motion that changed the generalist to that piece of it, again, Mr. Walker, correct me if I'm incorrect, because you made that motion, I believe. The
I did.
managers, the existing managers maintained their title of manager, so.
What was said was that they would maintain that title for the current year. And then after that year, we would look at another position that was comparable.
Is that correct, Mr. Walker?
I don't think that's what I thought it was. They
Yeah,
maintained.
they maintained it.
Yeah.
So,
I know Mr. Walker, he ain't put that in his. He don't do that. Okay, so that's somebody,
So
I'm
we're
just
good with keeping
asking.
them in as managers.
No, I'm just asking, like, I just like to be consistent here.
I mean, like,
with that piece.
Dr. Lawrence and I spoke with two of them last year, and yeah, it was stated to them that those positions had been eliminated from the organizational structure, and so that was.
They're DSS, guys, they don't have a conversation. I'm sorry, they talking about something, just let them know they're DSS.
So if you'd like to keep, so they'd be grandfathered in indefinitely unless we.
That's what I said.
Abolish the position.
That was just the thing from last year.
If that's the case, I have no qualms with.
I could have Ms. Kidd to check the language on what that was. I just like to be consistent up here on that one. Can you just explain to me why a generalist will be reporting to the business manager or the associate business manager and why they aren't doing something under a department?
So they work for the entire, of course, they work for the entire operations department. The two operations generalists that are near the top of the organizational chart on the right-hand side, essentially, those individuals did support operations, and they also supported the business manager, those managerial positions or manager positions. And so we just moved them there. They'd still support everybody in operations as well.
The way your org chart, it doesn't show that. So I understand what you're saying, but I know how the district and people move by this organization chart, and it shows
Keep
them.
it clean instead of drawing like dotted lines everywhere.
Oh,
We can do
it's
that.
all over the place in that way. It's not just you. A lot of these are a little confusing to understand who, my general question is who evaluates individuals and who is responsible for people if they're progressing and things like that. And that is the clearest thing that I'm looking for on these org charts, where, and if they actually have purpose here, because if they're just floating around, I don't know what that support service is on that piece of it. So the two at the top, I do take issue with because it doesn't appear that they're with an actual team and they're just wherever you guys decide to plug them in. And that's, I mean, that doesn't help us as an organization for a support team.
Okay.
I mean, just comparative to the other because were the managers like this? Did the managers report to you guys?
One of the managers, actually with the exit of our senior executive director, you know, they would need someone to report to. And ultimately that would be me in this case. I mean, we can reorganize, you know, have some conversations around it. Like I said, I have no problems with it. In terms of evaluation, you know, we often have really good conversations about evaluations, and we make sure that, you know, folks that report to us are evaluated. That hasn't been an issue. Not saying it couldn't, but it hasn't been.
Are these positions higher than the directors? Like, I'm trying to understand on the scale.
Which positions?
Any of the like they're above them. I'm asking, so the directors are administrative positions, the generalists are district support staff. So why wouldn't they?
To be honest, I don't know that like, the conversation that we're having is good. I don't know that it can be articulated or presented on a piece of paper in the way that with the level of complexity that we're discussing now. But we can certainly have a sit down and add some complexity to it.
Okay. The one question I had about Dr. Lawrence has been removed, so that's all I have for now.
So do you need this to be pulled, to be worked on, and
I like to
come
hear,
back?
can I hear all the other questions first, see if other people have questions?
Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
All right, Doctor. Good one. Okay, so on the Treasury side, we heard from the auditor regarding the HRPY specialist position of Madam Treasurer, and I will ask the auditor as well, where should these positions actually be placed for accuracy and accountability stakes?
They should be in HR.
Ms. Hamilton?
So the structure, just to clarify, the structure of the organization is definitely up to the leaders of the organization to establish. But as an internal auditor, there is a risk when the people who are paying the individuals are also the individuals who are creating employee profiles in the system. So that is a general risk for other concerns like potential, I'm not saying that does exist in our organization, but the risk is very high when people have that ability, which those HRPY positions are the ones who are creating the positions at this time in the system, and then they are also assisting with the payroll process.
Okay, so is that the HRPY specialist and HRPY generalist? Or
Yes.
Okay, so Dr. Lawrence, can these positions be back in HR?
Dr. Davis, would you come and speak to that, please? And capture the HRPY, the conversation around how they got there and why they're there.
Sure. The work they do is strictly with payroll. If Ms. Webb was here, she could speak to that because she said that now that she knows the intricacies of the work that they do, they are in the correct spot. They enter a lot of payroll information. The title is a misnomer in terms of HR. They do not do very much of work for HR. Everything that they do is payroll related.
Okay, so I would defer to the treasurer and assistant treasurer on what work do they do in Treasury or should be doing in HR. I guess for me, it's trying to understand what the auditor gave us as a report and saw as red flags internally and how you all are looking to address them moving forward. If they're going to stay in Treasury, like where, and the treasurer is saying that they would be better in HR, but you're saying not so much.
Correct, and the chief of payroll says the same.
Okay, but the chief of payroll answers to the treasurer and associate treasurer. That's why I'm referring to her, not the chief of payroll.
Right.
So I'm just curious. I will ask the associate treasurer since he's, like Madam Treasurer said, overseeing chief of payroll. So what's your thoughts?
So those two positions, when you asked what exactly are they doing, they are creating individuals and putting them into the system. So when a person gets hired, when we approve individuals to work for the district, they are then making those people exist in the system. They are assigning what salary they are supposed to receive throughout the year and other information like that. So.
But those sound like more so HR function than payroll functions.
Sure.
Okay, so my recommendation is going to be to move those back into HR because that doesn't sound like treasury functions to me. My next question is, Dr. Lawrence, this year preschool was under the chief of elementary schools, and currently I see all the preschool buildings still under the chief of schools, but not the preschool department. So I was trying to understand the placement of what changed within this year going into next year.
So for me, the director of preschool, that's programmatic and it's district-wide. And it's just an alignment in terms of having schools where schools are and having district-wide operations on the side of the associate superintendent. So that's why I made that decision. And I want to go back to something the assistant treasurer just said. He said that the role is to assign how much they get paid or their pay schedule?
Yes.
They assign it based on what was approved at the board meeting. So when you all make your recommendations, they look and see what was approved. If it was for X amount of dollars, they just allot that X amount of dollars to that employee. If that employee is not currently created, they create that employee in the system, and then they assign the salary that way.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. I guess it said, the language is create their pay schedule. I'm just gonna repeat that, repeat their pay schedule, and
But out of the 17 other things he said that they do all sound like HR functions, you're pointing out one thing that sounds like treasury.
that's the one thing he said.
But the 17 that are HR functions,
What, 17?
the 7 or 8 that he said.
That's hyperbolic. What?
Dr. Bailey,
Oh, I'll defer to Ms. Garrison.
I was just going to ask, can HR provide the actual job description for this position so we can review it and make a more informed decision on what area it should fall under? Is there a position description for that? Dr. Davis? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. So if we could receive that, that would be helpful. Are we still going in exec session? Okay.
Yeah, you
I'm
also,
sorry.
I'm gonna say, you also probably want to talk to Chief
So-
Webb, because that's who manages the people. So in addition
Yeah.
to that, you would want to speak to Chief Webb.
Okay.
So you can have not only Ms. Hamilton's
Yep.
piece of it, Dr. Davis's piece of the actual job description,
Yep.
and the person who's actually currently supervising
Okay.
in that piece, and you can get a full thing of it.
Yep, thank you.
You left out the treasurer who the chief reports to is treasury.
Nope, I didn't. I said the person who directly supervises.
Okay, well, I added in the treasurer,
Oh, did you?
who actually supervises that person.
Yeah. Why you so aggressive right now? You need
Because
to-
you literally
I
just
did,
tried
I
to
did.
undercut her like
I
anybody
did.
else.
She asked for the people who
Yes.
work
Yeah.
and do stuff.
Oh, Mr. Lacy.
Mr. Lacy, sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, I am a CPA, and I have done some auditing in my past, and yes, the putting those HR functions under payroll is a conflict of interest. So I do concur with
Thank you.
Mr. Walker. The audit committee, members of the audit committee were pretty much aghast when they saw that system within our schools. And it's fairly recent. I mean, I think it's just a few years ago, I think we put them there as a reaction, and I would say as an overreaction to some problems that people have had in HR and payroll. And so, yeah, I concur that these positions do not belong under payroll. They belong under HR.
Dr. Bailey?
Yes, ma'am.
As a result of that new information, if the policy committee has already reviewed it, then I'm
Not
sorry,
policy.
if the audit committee has already reviewed it, then I don't need the additional information. I'm prepared to vote.
Can you say that again?
Said she's prepared to vote.
Yeah, if he wants to put it up for a vote, I don't need any additional information based on the policy committee.
Oh, to move the HR.
They've already reviewed it and Joe.
The audit committee, you said policy committee.
I'm sorry, the audit committee.
Hey, rookie.
Keep saying the wrong name.
That's a good one.
The audit committee.
Yeah. I'm a motion to table and ask these three teams to go back and just make some adjustments to this.
I will second.
Said, yeah. All right. Call for a vote. Madam Treasurer.
It's my motion.
Okay. For the table? Okay.
Yes.
President Bailey?
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
I'll allow it, yes.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Lacy?
Yes.
Yes. 7 yeses.
Dr. Lawrence?
Can you bundle the overnight field trip, out-of-country
So
Field
moved.
trip, then thank you, Ms. Snipe. Appreciate it.
Any concerns or questions? I do
This
have.
is E through H for those who.
Yeah.
B
Go ahead,
to
Ms.
H.
Walker.
I do have
Which one
on
is-
E, May 37, 2027 doesn't exist.
It does not.
What don't?
37.
May
You said
37.
about 37 days. Can we get a correction on that?
Yep.
And then this is very different. Chief Dooley not here for me to say it. Okay. So we are approving a 2028 and a 2029 trip.
Yes.
Have we done that like that before?
No, I haven't.
So if I may, I was in Stivers last week or the week before, and I ran into a teacher who I spoke briefly with about these field trips. And he wanted us to know as a district that he's doing everything he can to speak to other teachers in other high schools so that they can have the opportunity, so he can share the information about how this happens. And he said that one of the things that they're doing is they are planning the field trips further out in advance now, because it makes the payments smaller for the students, so that they can start paying 2 years in advance rather than 1 year in advance. And it can be more affordable for more students, and it can be something that we can broaden the reach for students. And that's why they're doing it 2 years in advance for this one. And whatever information we can get to other schools and the administrators and teachers that are responsible for that, I would love to make that communication happen so more kids across our district can have this opportunity.
Can I
Go ahead, Dr. Bivens.
And I would say Dr. Shi, he actually brought that to the, what's that committee called? Curriculum Committee,
Curriculum.
where actually Mr. Reisner brought a proposal up about being able to expand to other schools and thinking out farther of being able to bring more students in. So it is something that is actively being discussed to not only allow at Stivers, but build the program for other students to not only go out the country, but to other parts of the United States. So thank you, Ms. Reiner.
Anyone else? Oh, Mr. Smith? I will yield first to Mr. Walker if you wanted to go before me.
Yeah, I just curious. So, okay, if students are they paying, like, is the district like creating a savings account for the students to then pay it? Or, because for me, it's looking at more so if something was to happen with the student not going, and this isn't like, I'm good with voting yes, but if something was to happen for a student not going, how does that look with the money they've set aside 3 years down the line?
I believe that the travel company does all these details for us, and we just have an arrangement with the travel company, and they work with the students.
Okay.
They'll probably get the money back.
That was my biggest thing okay.
If it's a travel company, they'll probably get the money back.
I don't do travel company, I just buy straight out, like my little pennies.
We, back in early March of 2020, we had a lot of trips planned that had to be canceled because of the pandemic and the world shutting down. And thankfully, I believe the travel companies took care of everything, but we had to shut it down.
Got it. Thank you.
Mr. Smith? Yes, thank you, Mr. Walker. I did want to add, one of the things that we've been talking about in curriculum as well is just creating a culture, an immersion culture where children start understanding the benefit of seeing things outside of their communities. So while I appreciate us trying to do overseas trips, I also recognize that I'm dealing with a district and a community full of people that forget talking about going out of the country. Some of these children do not go out of the state. Some of these children have not gone outside of Dayton, Ohio before. And so I think if we're going to think of being successful in doing this, it's not as simple as getting information over to other schools and over to other populations across this district if we're dealing with students that do not get those experiences at a young age. If we're not engaging parents and showing families how to see more than what's inside of the 937, they're not going to be amenable to it. They're not going to accept it. And you sometimes see that even at Stivers. Like some of the students that you see at Stivers that are going on these trips are students that come from families that go outside of Dayton, Ohio. The students that do not go are some of the students who have not seen it. So if I do not value it, if I do not see it, if I have not seen it, then I cannot be it, I cannot achieve it, I'm not going to see the value in it. So I love the conversation that he, and the team, and I think Ms. Goins was really instrumental in bringing that to it's kind of like the things that she does at the Liddy Camp. Like those kind of things show students how to be outside of their everyday school life. And it shows them how to get into those spaces. So I really appreciate that space. And I think that's the way that you're going to be able to see other students get involved and then see the value in studying abroad. And so I just wanted to lift up that work that's going on in that group and share that with the group that we've been working on. How can we bring those kind of things, not just at a high school level, but at an elementary level? How do we get parents to see the value in showing their children experiences and creating those kind of immersion programs that other youth in our area get? So I'm glad Dr. Goodwine brought that up, because it would be remiss to leave out that part of that conversation that's been going on in there, which is starting to be one of my favorite groups, my favorite committees, that little crew. I know Ms. Hamilton, but we be having, and we be virtual too, so we get it in, get it out, then we mix it up. It's kind of dope, I'm telling you.
Each time I went to Miss Hamilton's committee, she's had food, so that's kind of favorite right now.
I give you that one, I give you that one.
Anybody else? Questions or concerns?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, and Ms. Reiner, you may know, if students at another building may want to go and have a teacher potentially, like let's say that Mount Street has 3 students that may want to go. Is there ever an opportunity, or Dr. Lawrence, is there ever an opportunity for those students to potentially find a teacher chaperone in their building that then can support them going on a trip?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
So if we have Stivers that's already doing the trip, but you have another building that may have 2 or 3 students who want to take advantage of the opportunity, is there ever an opportunity for those students to tag along with another teacher chaperone, or is it specifically?
I've never seen that, and this is my 30th year, but I'm not an expert at that. Mr. Reiser and I have a long history. I can ask him, but I've never seen that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or concerns? Madam Treasurer?
President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwine,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Dr. Bailey, my final recommendation is asking the board to accept the settlement agreement with the DEA.
So move.
Second.
Questions or concerns?
Goodwine. Okay.
No? Madam Treasurer?
Who seconded it? Walker?
Mr. Smith?
Mr. Smith?
Okay. President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwine,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Dr. Bailey, that concludes my recommendations.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ms. Mahoney. I swear. Madam Treasurer?
I recommend the approval of the following: A through H as reviewed last week, and the monthly financial as reviewed with the Finance Committee on
So moved.
Thursday.
Second.
Are y'all trying to
Second.
beat Mr. Lacy? Is that what's going on?
Lacey got to get quicker on his feet.
Who seconded?
Questions or concerns?
I do have a question.
Mr. Walker?
I think I asked this before. Is it possible to actually post the minutes under the item of minutes? I've heard from people that it's hard to navigate to the section where they paste are currently hidden under the tab or whatever. So not sure if that can happen, but just a question.
Okay.
Who's that question to?
Is this a question?
Man, we fired, man. We doing this all
All right. Anybody else? Dr. Goodwin?
Dr.
We
Jones,
will
with
ask.
the petroleum, the gas and all that we're getting, what increase are we seeing due, with the shift in how gas has been over the last 30 days?
Just for clarification, you asked about what increase we're seeing?
Yes, gas.
The typical increase that we see at the pumps, we've almost doubled in terms of cost. The good thing about it is that we purchase in bulk, and so we had some gas that we had purchased earlier in the year that wasn't as expensive. So
Okay, can we get numbers on kind of what we're seeing, what we're projecting going into the fall, if things don't go down?
most definitely. Projections for this coming fall.
Yes.
Definitely. Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else?
I mean, you purchase in bulk, so like, when's the next time you gotta purchase, or do you know?
It'll be the end of the summer.
Okay.
That's it. Madam Treasurer?
Okay. President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison.
Yes.
7 yeses. That concludes my recommendation for tonight.
All right. Mr. Business Manager.
Thank you, Board President. If the board so chooses, I'd like to recommend ratification of letters A, B, D, and E.
So move.
Second.
Questions or concerns? Dr. Goodwin?
Can you tell me, for the carpeting for the various schools, was this a publicly bid thing, or how do we end up with this contractor?
You know what, they were part of the, I won't say consortium, but they were part of the group that we didn't have to bid.
Okay, did we at least get a?
The cooperative, yes, the
Did
cooperative.
we at least get competitive quotes? In
Yes,
the cooperative?
yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Madam Treasurer?
President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. I'd also like to recommend ratification of the following resolution concerning certificate of participation. Essentially, this is a loan for roughly $31 million that we would pay $2.48 million a year towards. And this will take care of our remaining schools that require BAS HVAC completion, upgrades to our roof, and some other major projects around the district. I don't see how, I don't know that we can move forward and make sure that our buildings are safe and clean and conducive to learning if we do not secure this funding.
So moved.
Second. So how much more in debt would this put us in? I mean, what kind of position does this put us in?
Essentially, $2.4 million a year to around $31 million. What's the interest rate then?
31.
About 5% interest rate. Well, I think what would happen is the remaining 6 schools that require upgrades to the HVAC systems, they would fail, and our buildings would be extremely hot and or extremely cold, and we'd have to shuttle emergency funding to fix those buildings. And the estimated cost for each one is around $3.5 million. And so that would far exceed the 2.4 that we'd be paying per year.
Is that our only solution, is to borrow $31 million?
Yes, sir, that's what I would recommend. We definitely need the roofs done. We've already replaced several gymnasium floors, sections of gymnasium floors because the roofs failed. And so, again, I'd like to avoid shuttling emergency funding towards some of these projects that quite honestly should have been done a long time ago.
Any other questions or concerns?
I have
Oh, go ahead.
a comment. Dr. Jones and I spoke about 3 or 4 hours ago. We did not know this was going to happen, but it's aligned with this conversation we're having right now. We may have to, in fact, we are probably going to close Thurgood Marshall tomorrow. We've got an HVAC issue there. I was there today. It was on fire, and we cannot get the building cooled off, and it's going to be even hotter tomorrow. We don't have the part. The part won't be here until, when did we talk about?
The part is, well, we'll find out from the organization that we ordered the part from, but it was something that they did not have on the shelf. They had to order it. Yeah.
HVAC.
Yeah.
And then taking you all the way back to Louise Troy at the beginning of the year. We have got to do something about this.
Yeah, typically the shelf life of an HVAC system is anywhere from 15 to 20 years. We've completed most of our projects, and so by the end of the payments on the loan, we'd be running up right against another cycle of investment into our HVAC systems.
Any other questions? Dr. Goodwin?
Even future projection here, like knowing that issue we had, what was it, Louise Troy earlier in the year that happened, and we had a couple other elementaries that went offline.
Opponents.
Are we doing anything to prepare? Like, what's our actual technology looking like? Because this week is the last week of school, which we're closing anyway. I don't know how important the last week of school. It wasn't important to me at all. I had a great time when I was there.
We planned a breakfast.
Right. But knowing when we
Y'all
get
sent us
to
home.
the fall, knowing kind of the conditions of some of the HVAC system and that piece of it, what is our technology situation looking like of us being able to do digital classroom, at least at the secondary level? That piece of it, because the child care is a little bit different at that level. Will we finally be at the point? I know we've gotten a lot better this year of where we were the year before, but I know we aren't there already. But are you two working on that being a reality, not only equipping our educators who are teaching the stuff, but also our students for what they would need to be able to work outside of the location?
Yes, Dr. Lawrence and the cabinet in general have been working very hard on making sure that we get better and better in that area. I can't say that we are 100% there, but to your point, we are way better off than we have been in the past. But yes, we are working diligently to make that a reality.
So can I just request some monthly check-ins at our business meeting for June, July, and August to have information on kind of where we are at that piece of it, seeing how August and September are hot months for us?
Mm-hmm.
The second question for you guys, just in general conversations, because I was in Texas recently and I visited a couple of districts while we're down there, and they have now transitioned to the 4-day school week. Have we had any conversations about not only what's happening nationally with some districts going to 4-day weeks, but also the hybrid model of the same way, I mean, at the high school level, at the bare minimum, that piece, because our buildings are getting filled a lot, which is a good problem to have. But the reality is there will be a point where we can't have the bodies in there due to capacity issues. So have you guys started talking about what that would look like for us, the future of our district, if we did not continue to be the traditional 5 days a week and just other ways of just not, I mean, we're using, is it K-12 Innovation? The group that teaches virtually for us right there. So
Elevate, K-12.
something like that. Yeah, those people.
Yeah.
So have you guys, and if you have started those conversations, when can we expect to get some presentations on what that looks like? And then also, how does that work with the 4 NGL model that we have coming in? Because again, we might not be in the classroom every day. We might be in other places in that piece, and us just moving towards utilizing our resources a little bit more efficiently.
Man, that is a very, very exciting question, and thank you for asking it. But Dr. Lawrence and I, we've had discussions all year, and we will have something ready to present very soon.
We traveled to North College Hill. They were one of the first to do the 4-day work week. Actually, that superintendent was national news, CBS. Eugene Baylak. And we traveled there my first year as a superintendent, and we have that on paper, but we didn't do anything with it. So we can follow, we can go back.
But during the winter, we've had some,
Oh, yeah,
some
that's
pretty
true,
good
yeah.
conversations about.
And then,
remote
and then
learning.
Toledo is exploring a 4-day work week as well. I went there about 4 weeks ago and watched the presentation from the superintendent to the public about the 4-day work week.
And the thing we don't want to stop is the actual learning on that 5th day. And so being able to provide the resources for our students is priority. And again, we've engaged in those discussions and we'll be able to present.
It would be really great if our 2 PhD individuals can go beyond the conversation and put some things on paper at this point.
It's on paper.
And not just
It's
the
on
4
paper. We
days.
just- we're
I mean, just
presenting.
not that, I mean, us getting to a practical of, like, we're entering the 26, 27 school year. We would be looking at 28, 29 at the first available opportunity for us to do these type of things. But not only exploring that piece of it too, I do want to request too that we explore the year-round piece as well. Like, just some different opportunities and options that allow us to utilize our buildings and our capacity and our educational bank in a way that is going towards where our world is shifting and not just staying this. So it'd be nice, like, I know y'all like to give us presentations on all the other things y'all think we want to hear about, but it'd be real cool to get something that is happening in the world and other spaces and kind of what that ideology would look like here, especially since we have so many individuals who operate in theoretical work here, to put some plans on paper just so we can hear about it and decide which way we could go as a district. Thank you, Dr. Bailey.
How often is the HVAC systems serviced and maintained?
How often? Frequently. The newer ones don't need as much preventive maintenance, but some of the old ones, of course, need a little bit more, help. But they're all serviced annually though.
Okay.
And also throughout the year as needed.
Did you have something, Mr. Walker?
I remember we talked about this before. My question is there, if I'm trying to remember what you said before, there was projects that was budgeted within the last
60 days.
60 days?
Yep. As long as the money has been encumbered, we can cover those actual projects. If the projects are if they're underway or completed, the funding cannot cover those.
So do we have anything like that now?
We have some encumbered already.
So I can see some money back in the general fund?
If you want to.
All right, I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you will have options to put money back in the general fund. It's not
Can you
that
come
you
to the
have
mic?
to.
Can you come to the mic?
Yes, so part of this plan will enable you to use some of the funds that are set aside in 070 right now, which is a separate fund, not the general fund. They'll enable you to make that decision to put money back into the general fund should you need it down the road. However, as you just discussed a little bit, there are a lot of other capital needs coming too. So you'll have an opportunity to make those decisions along the way. This isn't a once and done decision, but it does give you the chance.
Perfect. So all I
Yeah,
need-
what it is if we bring those funds to general fund, because I'm going to pay the debt every year. That is about 2.4 million. That's what I am counting to pay the debt. If not, the debt is going.
Oh, we were on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else? All right, Madam Treasurer.
Okay. President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Dr. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison,
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, new business. Board members, travel expense.
Motion to approve.
So move.
Oh, no, I was,
Oh, my bad.
I was motioning to approve.
Any questions or
Walker.
concerns?
Ms. Reiner.
Well, I was clarifying for, yeah.
No, I'm saying Ms. Reiner motioned in and then Dr. Goodwin.
Madam Treasurer?
So That
Okay.
you motion.
No, no,
It was
yeah,
actually
you're right,
opposite.
you're right. I
Okay.
motion.
Good
You
one,
made it.
motion, but
Yes.
she can count that as a second. I was
Go
just
ahead.
clarifying. It's
Okay.
All right.
I'm giving it to Mr. Walker.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
I'll allow it, yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Second policy reading?
Insomuch as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, and the committee which was appointed has been working towards that goal. The following is brought at this time for second reading in compliance with board file. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been qualified for inclusion in the handbooks and policies, rules, and regulations. GCBDC-GDBDA and GF. I move that we adopt these policies.
Second.
Any questions or concerns? Madam President, Madam Treasurer?
President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
It's your turn.
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Ms. Garrison?
Yes, I just wanted to thank all of our speakers that spoke today, President Mahoney, Ms. Jamie, and Ms. Williams for taking the time out to share your thoughts and provide continuous encouragement to the district as we wrap up this particular school year. Also want to congratulate all the graduates of Dayton Public Schools, class of 2026, and I'm looking forward to the ceremonies this week. Be safe, be encouraged, and keep striving for excellence. Thank you.
Dr. Goodwin?
Thank you. First, congratulations to all the graduates. I know this is an exciting time. I hope y'all turn up and y'all have a great time and y'all graduations are everything you want them to be. I hope that each board member is brief with their comments when it comes to your graduations, especially the one to the left of me. I want him to know he is not the keynote speaker. Meadowdale just wants you to confirm their degrees and then move on with their celebration. Next, congratulations to all the individuals and our staff who kind of moved forward and actually took advantage of last year and got their degrees. Mr. Calhoun actually got his bachelor's and then his master's. So it is very impressive to watch adults go back to school because that is not an easy thing. I hope that seeing that our staff who see you, who haven't reached educational goals or who never even had those goals, I hope they are inspired by the things you all do because I'm excited for you and I'm excited for the opportunities that open to you because you have experience and education. Committee work, athletics, we have not met, but we will be back on the books next month. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Miller. He did a great job working on the AI policy, which it took 3 revisions, and that will be going forward to our policy committee, which we will see at our June meeting for the Board of Education, and it's good work, and I appreciate the work on that. Shout out to Ms. Kidd, Ms. Gum, Ms. Higgins, and Erin don't do enough yet. She don't get a shout out. She just came back to the team. But you 3 are actively working on the customer service training that is going to be rolled out to the district. And the team has done a phenomenal job of not only taking things that we learned 2 years ago, but bringing them into the practical realm. So it is good to see a project get to completion. Our policy committee has been actively working as we do. It's been really good to involve other committees as well as sending things through those committees to get back to us. I'm very excited, as you've seen today, our discipline policy that went out. Our organization talks a lot about equity, and I am focusing on us being at equality first because we have a lot of things that we need to make our level the playing field so that people know how transparent processes are, how they go, and how those things are working. Me and my colleagues are working to make the workplace better, not only for the small employees, but everyone in between, because you all make this happen. That's all I got. Thanks.
All right. Mr. Lacy.
We had our finance committee meeting last Thursday, and everything was in good order. Our audit committee meeting has been scheduled. It will be June 25th. And I was wondering if the board would consider moving the review session and the business meeting in June and July to 5 o'clock.
So moved.
Second. Madam Treasurer?
While we're actually, before we vote on that, can we clarify, are we meeting here in the summer?
It's board president's decision.
Okay. I'll let you know.
Can I amend my motion to do the first meeting in August 2 and 5?
When does school start?
Not the first Monday, Tuesday in August.
It's the 11th, August 11th.
But when is convocation?
Dr. Lawrence just asked for it, so.
I did.
He the one who did it last year.
If the superintendent asked for it.
August 5th is when everybody comes back. I think convocation is.
August 11th is the first meeting.
So 5 o'clock, between 5:30 and 5 o'clock, y'all see a real big difference there?
June, July, and August. Okay.
Madam Treasurer?
President Bailey?
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Lacy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
I'll allow it, yes.
Amen.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Garrison?
Yes.
7 yeses.
Anything else, Mr. Lacy?
Yeah, that's all.
All right. Ms. Reinhardt?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items to go over. I was able to attend 2 different events that were really, really instructive. The first was the Board Leadership Institute last weekend. There's always great conversations about the work that we do and how we do it and how to navigate the difficulties and intricacies of board work. And I'm always appreciative of that opportunity. I was not here last week because I was representing Dayton Public Schools at the fly-in. It was an excellent opportunity for me to represent Dayton Public in the business community as well as people who are Air Force Base adjacent. There were a handful of things specifically that I want to bring to the attention. The first is I was able to make some more connections for mentorships and mentorship programs that I connected to plug into our Ford NGL work. There was also a Greene County Commissioner who talked about an event that was held at Xenia schools, and it was a partnership with the high school and the Wright-Patt Air Force Base. And officials from Wright-Patt came out and talked about the specific careers that happen at the base and what it would take for students to get on a path to achieve those specific careers. You go to, you study this at school, or you make sure you take these classes. And I want to do everything I can to make sure we bring that program specifically to our Dayton Public School students. It was a really, really incredible event, and I think our DPS kids would benefit from that as well, too. There were 2 students in attendance, and I think every year 2 students from one of the non-DPS students get to go, and they are sponsored by an outside sponsor. And these students are very bright and very smart, but I would like to see DPS students there as well, too. And I'm doing everything I can to secure funding for DPS students to be sponsored next year and the year after. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity I had to participate in that. Committee work, community engagement meeting was just a few days ago. We talked at length about the work that is happening with our title programs, as well as our engagement in our ombudsman's work. The parent cafes, which were mentioned earlier in the year, I hope that I'm not going to put any pressure on you, but they might continue. I would love to see that continue. Outreach to parents and providing more opportunities for engagement would be excellent. There were 79 participants, and I was grateful to hear the update from the life coaches from Dr. Worley. We had an interesting conversation about the legislation updates. There's an event June 25th at 5:30 at Valerie And you know what? I don't have written down what that is, but we'll make sure that we get it publicized. And I believe that Ms. Guerin made a note of that at the meeting. Yesterday, I had Saturday, I had a Black Caucus meeting with the Ohio School Board Association. It's always a great committee to be a part of. And then today, I had a legislative liaison meeting, and as an update for some legislation that is relevant to public education, but particularly DPS. So a lot of new bills were introduced last week, and I will bring those to the attention of the district as they are relevant. But two things I wanted to make note of is Senate Bill 127 is the school closure bill. We had some concerns about that. It would force school closures earlier than I believe is necessary. It was changed to be only subject to community schools, and that is fantastic. We're really pleased with that change, that legislation. Also, Senate Bill 19 is moving along. It is the Math Intervention Services Bill. The committee adopted the subversion of the bill, and we're waiting to see how that finishes playing through the State House. That is all that I have, but I do quickly want to say I want to thank Ms. Ryan for coming out and speaking to us. She has been a fierce advocate for all DPS kids for many years, and I've been grateful for her voice. I am so grateful for the opportunity we have to shout out the teachers, especially by name. Sometimes I think we get lost in the administrative details up here, but to have that reminder of each teacher that influenced her daughter, and think about the teachers all across the district. The teachers are the lifeblood of this district. Staff and every staff member is deeply, deeply important, and I'm especially grateful at this time of the end of the school year, thinking about the teachers that pour all of this work and love into our students. I'm just really grateful for them. I want to thank every single staff member across this district and the work that they do, and the teachers, and I want to wish all the kids a happy end of the year. I will say, there's still exams, so make sure you finish studying, do your best, finish hard, and congratulations to our graduates. That is all I have.
Mr. Smith. Thank you, Mr. President. As we close out another school year, I just want to take a moment to recognize the incredible staff all across Dayton Public Schools, whether it be in our classrooms, in our cafeterias, our transportation department, our maintenance and operations team, our finance. Every one of you fine people down here at Ludlow and across this place, every role really matters in this district. Every contribution, seen and unseen, plays a role in creating positive outcomes for our children, and our students are better off because of your dedication. And the reason I want to say that is that we can get so caught up in the politics of all of this work. There's inter-office politics. There's politics when it comes to local stuff. There's the county. There's the state. And when you get caught up in that rigmarole, sometimes you can lose sight of what really matters. And what matters is these people that you see to the left and right of you, and the children that we do it for and their families. Like, we look at our state. It sometimes gets to a point where there's no need to really have civil discourse at times, because we know how numbers go. If this group of people wants to pass something, it's gonna get passed. We've seen that. We've seen how public education has been under attack. We've seen that. If we lean back on those things, we will never be as good as we should be, because we will forget who we are. So I never want us to forget who we are and what we need to be doing. I want to congratulate our valedictorians and salutatorians, and I'm glad we lifted them up. And I also want to draw what Dr. Lawrence spoke on, in that nearly half of those were athletes, and many of those salutatorians were athletes. And it shows that, we get a lot of conversation around GPA requirements, and why do we allow students to do these things, and why don't we have, these different restraints where there's no conversation around some of our suburban neighbors when they do some of the same things, which then goes back to these things that we put on ourselves and these barriers and limitations that we put on ourselves. So I want to thank that, because those are the real stories that we should share. And if we share those stories, it helps us work to lift up those students that do need our extra help. At the same time, I want to recognize students whose names may never appear at the top of a class ranking, but they make tremendous strides every day. And at the end of the year, I want to lift them up as well. Students whose success may not be determined by where they came in a class rank, but the fact that they're still in that class at all. The fact that they're coming every day, the fact that they're becoming better human beings, the fact that what you all do every day helps them to survive and then thrive. And we know the challenges that our students face every day in our communities, but we cannot allow these barriers to define our limits. We must continue to succeed in spite of these challenges. So as we head into summer, I want to encourage our staff to truly practice self-preservation. Rest up your minds, rest your spirits, because this work can be draining. People can be draining. Adults can be draining. Board members can be draining.
Speak for yourself.
But please take time to rest, recharge, and care for yourselves. This work really does require a great deal from you, and your well-being matters too. We cannot give our full selves to our children if we do not come in with our full selves. And that means give grace to the people that work alongside of you. To those who will continue serving students during the summer months, I pray for you. But I really want to say thank you to everybody who does this. Can't wait for the graduations. I really love seeing our children and their parents and their families at that date. And I know Goodwine does not like it, because I like to represent my school because it is still standing in Niagara and Wabash. It's just a little land over there. So,
I didn't peak in high school.
You know. We can go check out Xavier too. But thank you. That is all I have. You all take care of yourself and keep the main thing the main thing.
Mr. Walker? Thank you. So for me, let's see. Some of my committees met, but I think I canceled my other ones. So you all get the summer break from me after knowing everybody else. But I will say, I do want to highlight Metro ROTC this year that has, I believe, 7 students that are enlisting into military service. So to Principal Davis, Colonel Mason, and the team over there, congratulations to you all. Please enjoy the summer break. Staff, take a time to relax, regroup. Graduations, looking forward to it. This year, me and Dr. Goodwine did switch, so I will be speaking at Thurgood's graduation. The school that was debated the greatest creation in Dane Public Schools history. Just to throw that out there. And I will highlight, yes, the Ohio School Board Association Legislative Black Caucus. We are actually reviewing scholarships right now for the Leo Lucas Scholarship. So Dr. Goodwine, I believe we did have more DPS students applied this year.
Great.
So we'll see how that dinner looks. It's upcoming November. Congratulations to all academic scholars. And what I mean by that is the fact that you are graduating in general, you were still a scholar. In high school, you may not have had a peak, but some students actually get it together even in college and moving throughout life and things like that. I will highlight that this is, unfortunately, summer legislation season. So please be mindful and pay attention to any bills that may sneak up on you with this upcoming capital budget and things like that. I do want to say, Ms. Nevaeh Woods, thank you for joining the board this year as the student representative. I enjoyed having you as a neighbor. I will say Nevaeh probably was my favorite student since my time on the board. She's the one that I resonated with more because she asks questions just like me, and it was like a big brother, little sister type thing because she was a bully too. I'm just gonna put that out there, just letting you know. And there was something else on here. Oh, following up, because I have not seen the email since, we're part of the all district email. The staff before long-term subs and staff leave for the summer because they will not have email access. The email about would they prefer a picnic for convocation or to go on their own. So we can have a follow-up on that, not tonight, just as we move forward. And thank you, and I will say congratulations to the graduates that came tonight. I'm actually sitting in class now at the same time, so Mondays, usually I don't do Monday meetings.
Thank you.
All right. Madam Treasurer.
I would like to congratulate all DPS graduates and to have a safe and memorable summer. Special congratulations to DPS staff who graduated tonight. Another note is, as of July 1st, 2026, the district plans to transition to a new semi-monthly pay system. The change means that all employees will be paid on the same consistent pay cycle on the 5th and the 20th of each month. If the 5th and 20th fall on a holiday or weekend, employees will be paid on the business day before that date. The goal is to organize payroll processes better and increase consistency. The Treasurer's Office will assist with any questions you may have about the transition to the semi-monthly pay. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hamilton.
Good afternoon again. Actually, I get excited to give a little announcements about our audit committee, but I am excited also that the vice president, also audit committee chair, has already given a lot of those announcements, which is great. But just to reiterate, our next audit committee meeting is on June 25th. I'm really excited. This is it's like an ad hoc audit committee meeting, and it's predominantly focused on approving or looking through the audit plan projects for the next fiscal year. And it's really important that it's going to be occurring in June, so that way the board has the information to review and provide feedback, and then also hopefully approve starting in our next fiscal year right away, which is great. So I'm looking forward to all of the project discussion, how projects begin, how they're placed, how they're suggested, and how it's discussed, etc. Some of that discussion has already been had with different division leadership, and so I'm really grateful and excited for that input around timing, competing priorities, district vision, and some of the strategic direction that our district is moving towards. And so I'm grateful to the district leadership team who has been able to come and join those meetings and provide their input. And then another thing that I wanted to give a shout out to is just to add on to one of the things that Joe Lacey, or board member Lacey, shared, which is that he was sharing that our audit committee discusses not only the project recommendations, so he mentioned the HRPY positions, what their functions and responsibilities are, but specifically it's not just about the projects. We also talk about district-wide risks and does it make sense, and what are some of the recommendations, and they provide me feedback on how I continue to grow and how to make sure that our department is really structured in the best position to support the district. But then also they come with a multitude of expertise. Majority of them being past auditors for different companies and organizations, as well as sometimes nonprofits, but then also different expertise like legal expertise and cybersecurity and technology expertise, and also education as well. And so I'm really grateful to those individuals and the insight that they provide, and then also how that supports you all as the board in making informed decisions. So I'm looking forward to our next meeting, and I hope to see some of you guys there from the community as well. We do have food. It's donated food, so not on the district's dime for sure, but it's just a great opportunity for me to continue to learn, but then also for the district as a whole to continue to grow and be pushed towards even more growth than we're already having. So that's it for me, and I just wanted to give one last shout out to the grads in 2026. I know everyone else has said the same thing, so it's not necessarily new, but I'm really proud of our students, and every year, I know last year I was able to join for some of the graduations, and I was just bewildered by our students and just the caliber of students that we have at our district, and just how they are going out into the world to make that impact and continue to broaden the alumni base that DPS already has. So it makes me really excited. I'm also really proud of our staff that are continuing to do the same as well. So thank you, and that's it.
Dr. Jones.
Thank you, Board President. I'll be really quick. To the 2026 graduates, the Business Services Division says, man, congratulations. And we wish nothing but the best. We have very high hopes for you. Shout out to my son, Miles Jones. He'll be graduating this week from Thurgood Marshall High School.
Are you on the stage or in the crowd?
I'm on stage. I'm giving him his diploma. I got that out of Dr. Goodwine's playbook there. Also, I commented on the Black Rodeo last week, and I'd be remiss if I didn't share this, but to the 2027 graduates, there's a Black Rodeo scholarship, okay? The Dayton Black Rodeo is committed to investing in the future by supporting the next generation of leaders. Educate your future, empower your community, build your legacy. Multiple scholarship opportunities are available. The application deadline is Friday, June the 12th. And so just go to Instagram or Facebook, look up the Black Rodeo Dayton. There's a couple of scholarships, and we'd like you to pursue those scholarships. So again, 2027 class, get after it.
Dr. Lawrence.
Let's close it out. There's been a lot of talk about graduates, so let's give the dates. Mound Street Academy, led by Principal Daniel Henshaw, May 19th. Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School, led by Katrina Bailey, May 19th. And closing out on the 19th, the last one, David H. Ponitz, CTC, led by Dr. Leonard Brown, who's had a spectacular first year. May 20th, Stivers School for the Arts, led by Dr. Paul Warler, another great first year. And Belmont High School, led by Dion McDowell, who was nothing short of spectacular this year. So the 20th is that back-to-back, 1920, Tuesday, Wednesday. We take Thursday off, and we close it out Friday with Thurgood Marshall STEM High School. Chauvin Lewis is the principal. I was just there today, and what a culture. And through text messages back and forth, we are going to close Thurgood Marshall STEM High School tomorrow because of heat and no air conditioning. Meadowdale CTC, led by brother Mr. Eddie Davis. Just a phenomenal job over there with academics and culture. The Momentum Award winner for this year with achievement and growth together, 3 stars with growth and achievement, 3 performance index points or higher. So the high school principals, shout out to you as a former comrade. I know that work, and you put a lot of work in this year, you and your team, so great job. And teachers, everybody, but teachers, shout out to you. Enjoy your Jeans Week. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. I want to say shout out to my wife. She starts her superintendency on June 1st, Megan Winston in Yellow Springs, and you will be subject to these executive sessions soon. Thank you.
Why's the Band-Aid?
You do this to yourself.
You're not the only one in your
Band-Aid.
Just kind of like, hey, man.
Pull the band, okay.
Vegas people like her.
Well, again, congratulations to all the graduates, our students, and our employees. I think that is so fantastic that our employees went back to school. I will just say this to our high school graduates. Look forward to going to college. Those that are going to college, this is going to be one of the best times of your life. Just make sure you keep your studies. As he say, the main thing is the main thing. So make sure that you're studying, but this is a great time to make new relationships, having great experiences. So enjoy yourselves. I'm so proud of all of you. You've already heard it be said, I'm so proud of DPS, all employees. It's been great. My last thing is Ms. Garrison, welcome to the D9. Welcome to the D9.
Thank you.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Was she?
She's a poodle now.
A poodle?
SG Room.
SG
You
Room.
gonna do a little
Miss
stroke?
Garrison, just cross, yeah.
So, I think this is the most Greeks that they go to the board to say.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Just a
No,
GDI.
slide back.
So pursuant to section 121.22G2 of the Ohio Revised Code, I move that this board go into executive session. This meeting is being held to consider the appointment, employment, and/or dismissal of a public employee.
Second.
Thank you. Madam Treasurer.
Okay. President Bailey,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison.
Yes.
7 yeses.
I saw you.
No, take your computer while we go upstairs and finish it.